recorded every conversation with my contractor, who tried to charge me double his base when I played the recordings in court was worth every penny. When my kitchen pipes burst and flooded my home last year, I had no choice but to hire a contractor immediately. Water was everywhere, and reliable renovations could start the next day. Mike seemed professional and sympathetic, showing up promptly to assess the damage and providing a detailed quote of $18,500 for complete restoration. I'll need to add a contingency for unexpected issues, he explained, but I promise we won't exceed 15% over the estimate without discussing it first. That's our company policy. Having dealt with contractors before, I developed a simple habit. I record every meeting, not secretly pair, and I always inform them up front. Most don't mind, some even appreciate having a record of agreements. I told Mike about my recording policy that first day. He laughed and said, "No problem, I've got nothing to hide." The work started well. Mike's team was efficient, and he walked me through each stage of the restoration. Every time we spoke, I'd place my phone visibly on the counter and tap record. 3 weeks in, we had a snag when they discovered mold behind the cabinets, paint, a common issue with water damage. "This will add about $2,200 to the job," Mike explained, detailing the additional work needed. "We're still well under the 15% contingency limit." I approved the change and work continued. Powered the project, I made 3 partial payments totaling $15,000 with the final balance due upon completion. When the project finished, Mike presented an invoice for $37,640, paired more than double the original estimate. "What happened to the 15% contingency limit?" I asked, genuinely confused. "That only applied to the initial scope," he claimed. "All these other items are add-ons you requested. See, it's all itemized here." He invoice listed dozens of client-requested upgrades I'd never asked for, premium fixtures I'd never seen, extended warranties I'd never discussed, even design consultation fees for conversations that never happened. "Mike, these aren't upgrades," I requested. "We need to review this." His demeanor changed completely. "Look, this is the final bill. I've got your signature on the work orders. Pay up or we'll place a lien on your house." I requested copies of these supposed work orders. The documents he emailed had signatures that barely resembled mine, paired, clearly forged. When I confronted him, he became hostile, threatening legal action if I didn't pay within the week. So I went to small claims court. Mike arrived with his lawyer looking confident. They presented the signed work orders and an elaborate explanation about how I'd verbally approved each upgrade. When my turn came, I simply pulled out my phone and a small speaker. "Your Honor, I'd like to submit audio recordings of every conversation with the defendant regarding this project." Mike's face drained of color over the next hour. I played recordings that systematically dismantled his claims. There was clear audio of our initial agreement, including the 15% contingency limit. There was audio of the single approved change for mold remediation. Most damning, there was audio of Mike explicitly saying, "We're all done. Final cost is $21,350, including the mold work," just 3 days before he delivered the inflated invoice. The judge interrupted the proceedings. "Mr. Thompson, do you have any explanation for the discrepancy between these recordings and your invoice?" Mike stammered about miscommunications and tried to suggest the recordings were edited. The judge asked if he wanted to request analysis of the audio files, warning that falsely claiming evidence tampering would have serious consequences. Mike declined. The judge not only ruled in my favor, but ordered Mike to complete the work properly at no additional cost and pay me $5,000 for willful deception and attempt to defraud. As we left the courtroom, Mike hissed, "You set me up with those recordings." "No," I replied calmly. "I told you I was recording on day 1. You were free to be honest at any point." Since then, I've referred 5 friends to small claims court over contractor disputes. 3 have won their cases. My advice is always the same. Check recording consent laws in your state, inform all parties you are recording, and keep every conversation. It's not about catching people bantry. It's about encouraging honesty. The $40 speaker I bought for the court hearing was the best investment I've ever made.